Hi, I'm Zanchikaze, or Tim, and this is my first video log. I might be a little distracted because I do have a cat lap, but other than that, everything's okay. Hopefully, I'll be making a lot more of these. I'm gonna try to do some sketch stuff too in the future, but for now, it's just this. No startup to it or anything, just me. So, I wanted to do my first video log. With a little more preparation, but I thought I'd do this fresh because I had a rather strange dream, which I have often. I'll try to recount ones in various episodes, but this one was something. It's getting a little fuzzy, but it was set in like this weird city. Okay, set in this weird city that was like interconnected with like highways and stuff, but it was like there like you had to go across the highways, like the ground. There was something wrong with the ground, and I was trying to get this girl I from somewhere in Asia there, and I was trying to use a Google link, and it wasn't working right. And then, for some reason, we went to a ground level to what looked like a Parisian street. I don't know, and we were going past through a cafe and then past a cafe, and I think actually it looked a lot like the bar in the City Museum in St. Louis. But um, then I was talking to this guy, and then this guy knew somebody, and then here comes President Obama in a suit. I don't, and he was talking to us, and then he told us about some kind of thing that was going to happen, some prophetic thing, and then he walked out, and then that's when I realized the ground was like all this weird dusty like ruined color, and there was like it was like a beach but with no water. Instead, at the end of it, there was this huge, what looked like it must have been like a 500-foot table or some object that was being covered by like a sheet, and the sheet must have been there forever because it was covered in dust, which is weird, it being not indoors and it being covered in dust. But he walked up to it, and then all of a sudden he got way bigger, like video game big, like, and turned like two-dimensional. I don't know. It looked like the real Street Fighter video game that had Jean-Claude Van Damme that was on the Saturn. Like it looked like that, like it was two-dimensional video game. And he just started boxing at the weird tarped thing, and then he disappeared. And nobody else. I guess I really didn't even think it was that crazy. I remember thinking, "Huh, that was odd." But then these other guys that were standing there at I guess the beach line of whatever this was, it looked like a refugee camp. There were these big beefy Jersey guys, and one of them was like, "Oh yeah," and he went over to the tarp, and as he was opening it, I realized, to my horror, what it was. Apparently, it was one of the trade centers, and they'd put a giant sheet over it, and it hadn't fallen, like time had frozen or something, and they'd been like, "Oh, put a sheet over it," instead of do something other than that. And he went in there, and there was a dumpster, and he got a box out, and it's like, "Oh no, the president's prophecy's true." I opened it up, and yep, apparently what he'd said was that there were going to be a bunch of tapes in a dumpster in there, and there they are, old VHS, mini VHS-C audio like cassette tapes, all this, just a giant just shoebox filled with them. And the first thought we thought, a lot of thoughts you can think, our first thought was, "Oh no, this stuff's outdated." We need to find VHS recorders and tape recorders. I would have asked, why did this not fall in all the way? Why did we put a giant sheet over it? Lots of better questions, but that was what came to our head. And then I thought about, what if that's recordings from people in there? It's horrible. It's horrible stuff. I know. And then I woke up, and I was really confused, and now I like and now I'm thinking, wow, my subconscious likes to be really inappropriate in playing with sensitive subjects, apparently, and messing with me with them. Which we'll get into that later, but my subconscious has kind of a history with doing that. But I actually for a long time in middle school I had this constant dream that, because I live in Kentucky where the New Madrid Fault is, and in my dream the earthquake had hit and it killed a lot of my classmates. And so the dream, I would get it like every year or two or half a year, and every time it would be a chronological update. It would be like our world, but it would be a version where the earthquake had hit and like the city was more, the school was more rebuilt, and they'd buried the kids, and it was looking into it like looking into an alternate dimension. But in all likelihood I wasn't. In all likelihood it was all just in my head, in which case my subconscious is a complete fucking asshole for doing that to me, because it was kind of scarring, and really it was like the air was thick with like the color blue and sadness, like every time I had that dream. It was this really like the Lost Forest and the Super Nintendo Legend of Zelda, just really sad. But anyway, this was my first video log. I hope everybody liked it. Gonna keep it kind of short because, you know, I can do others later. So I hope everybody liked it, and come